Fine. So till yesterday, we're understanding like what Pega is and to what extent it will be helping for our project development. Okay. So finally, we concluded Pega is used for developing only internal applications. So let me talk more about internal applications today. So consider city is our end client. Okay, for the city organization, there will be multiple internal applications, right? So maybe one such application is about credit card. And there can be one more internal application for them, which might be for their accounts application. And something might be like their loan application. So today, if you go for a bank, ask for something like credit card. So one employee will be using that internal, right? So I'm talking about those three internal applications. So now, if you are like joining today in TCS as a Pega developer, so you will be assigned to this client, and here client requirement might be to design this credit card application. So now let's talk more about this internal application. So for this credit card, so generally there will be multiple screens, right? Screen number one might be about your registration. Okay, so they'll just ask for your registration details. As part of the screen number one design, they might collect your first name. Am I correct? So there might be something about like last name details, age, mobile number. So there will be n number of things to be designed in screen number one as part of that registration page. So you as a Pega developer has designed everything. You dragged and drop everything. You took care of some validation part. So consider the screen number one is done. After you done developing this screen number one, your manager might ask you to design screen number one for accounts application also. Even in accounts application, screen number one will be again registration kada. So here also you will do like first name creation, last name, age, mobile number, all these things. After you have developed this, maybe the next day, your manager might ask you to design screen number one for this one, which is little similar. Okay, after you developing all these things, you realized that you have done something repeated work. So whatever the task you have done for this application number one, same task you are doing it again, correct? Same task you're doing again for this one. So instead of you doing this kind of repeated process, you can try something called framework. So now what I mean to say here is slowly I'm making you to understand how Pega development should happen. So if we just give you a small requirement designing that, it is okay, but it should be reusable for our future design. So instead of you developing here and here and here separately, if you can maintain in something kind of library, consider there is some reusable point called library. And if I get requirement number one to design this, instead of I explicitly doing it here, if I do it in something like reusable place, like first name and last name, if I maintain it here, I can happily use it into my application number one. Okay. And the same design, I can use it into application number two also, right? The same one, I can use it into application number three also, right? Okay, so you as an Pega developer, whatever the requirement you are given, first you should think whether that is reusable in multiple applications or not. If that is the scenario, you should do something at like common library, what we technically call it as framework. Okay, so you should call this as framework. So framework is something where we'll be maintaining all the reusable components in Pega. Okay, yesterday I gave you one small statement also. If any client wanted to start any project, so they need not do anything from zero. So Pega is even providing some frameworks, they can purchase that. That is what the statement I told you yesterday. You'll understand this statement in detail in coming sessions. So finally, I wanted to correlate that framework is something where we will be maintaining all the reusable things. And if that is designed here, I can use it into my first one, maybe second one, maybe third one. And in future, if this Citibank wanted to start one more thing, And by that time, if something design is ready, they can straight away use it here also, right? So this is somewhere like framework. So framework meaning where it will be maintaining only reusable part. And even you have to design something in this level also. If we are supposed to redesign the same diagram, so city is one organization where it must be having one framework maintained, and this will be connected to multiple applications. This has one credit card, maybe loans, maybe account. So we're calling this as framework. And these applications in Pega, we call it as implementation applications. Okay, in Pega, we call these as implementations, or generally we call this as intranet applications, right? But in Pega, technical word is implementation. So in interviews, straight away, they might ask you, what is your client about? So you have to say something about like city client and what exactly the projects you worked on, how many implementations your organization is having, how many frameworks it is included with, is it only one or multiple, is this framework what you people created or is it separately purchased from Pega? So everything they'll try to ask you. Okay, so after you learning everything about Pega, you'll start your interviews, right? Okay, you'll start attending interviews. And there, the very first question is, can you please draw and show your organization structure? They'll just give you a pen and paper and whatever the organization you worked on from past 3 to 4 years as per your resume. They'll ask you to draw the diagram. So if you are not understanding this structure completely, then you did not work on this all the part, right? That is what they'll think about. Okay, so this organization structure is like very, very important. So finally, we are talking that there must be a framework to maintain all the reusable things for the implementations. Fine. Now, if my requirement is to design credit card application, and I wanted to design first name, last name, age, mobile number, something about like credit card type, something about like credit card amount. So these will be like general things what we see. Kada. And if we observe first name, last name, age, these four are like reusable. You must maintain these four things in framework. And these two, if you create it in framework, no doubt you can use it. But will these be useful in loans or accounts application anytime? You tell me. Online people, please tell me. So in framework, I'll create
No.
this first name, last name, age, mobile number. Considering these four will be used in loans application or somewhere in future applications. This credit card type and credit card amount will be used only in my credit card application,
Yes.
correct? So it will not be used in other implementations. So in that scenario, you should create these two here only, maybe these four here only. So what will happen if you create something in vice versa? So can't I create all these things here itself and can't I get the output? No doubt you'll get the output. And can't I create everything in the framework and can I not achieve the output? Still you'll get the output. But
Yes.
if you are not following the best practices, okay, as a Pega developer, today I worked on this project, everything I created here itself. No doubt I'll get the output. Next day, I'm trying to work on this project. Again, I'm trying to create everything manually. Still, I'll get the output. Still, I'll get the output. Meaning, I have developed something, but there is no reusability, right? So if you are not following the best practices, so there will be something called compliance score reduced. What is this? What we have to technically call this? Compliance score. Each and every implementation application in Pega. Every application in Pega should be designed with the best standards only. So if you are not following the best standards, there will be something called compliance score, which should be 100% that will be reduced. So that will be reduced, meaning this Pega, everything is developed using Pega software. No? So this Pega has got one powerful algorithm. So we call this algorithm as rule resolution algorithm. All these are like important things you have to understand. So there will be something like powerful algorithm with the name rule resolution algorithm, where its duty is to check whether everything is like perfectly created, and then its duty is to pick up the best instance out of that. Okay, in detail you'll understand. So this algorithm will check whether this application is designed in best practiced or not. So based on which it will calculate something like 100% score for this application. Maybe this might be 90% score only. This might be 80% score only, meaning this is not followed in some best standards, right? No doubt output might be perfect, but this is not designed in something best way. Okay. If output, maybe if percentage is something less, who will bother? Who will bother? Let me talk about. Consider we all are working in one development team for this credit card application. I am the project manager. You all are like team members. Consider. So project manager, what he will do? He'll give you some tasks, right? Consider I'm your manager. I'm giving you some tasks, asking you to design screen number one. So your task will do it. And next developer, he'll complete his task. Next developer, he'll complete his task. So end of the day, I'll just cross check whether you people are following everything, timelines and completed or not. Okay. And once this is done, next it will go to testing team. They will also test for the output. Okay. So will testing person know that whether I created here or here? They will not understand. So this particular development studio will be accessed only for the developers. So the real testers, they will see only output screen. So I designed in what way, they will not know. So meaning if I followed best practice or not, there will not be any problem from testing team, correct? Okay. And even business analyst will not bother. They'll just check whether everything is done in time or not, whether everything output is perfectly delivered or not. So even client also, he might not be having proper time to look for every developer's daily tasks. So it's like very difficult to track whether every person is doing best standards or not. But if we are not following best standards, no doubt application performance will be very slow. Am I correct? Consider this credit card application is designed in bad way. This is also designed in some bad way. This is also designed in some bad way. So output is fine, but something running in slow way, in slow. Okay, after we developing all these things, next it will go to production, right? So the original bank employee, they'll try to use this application and they identified this is running very slow. Per day, they usually generate 100 credit card customers. Because of they using this Pega, it is like reduced to only 50, meaning their business is reduced by 50%. What these bank employees will think? They'll think like Pega is running slow, right? If that is the scenario, they'll try to cancel this Pega license and it will be a loss for Pega systems too. So we as a TCS developer will work for that company maybe for 2 to 3 years of that project. We'll step out of that. And finally, this city client and this Pega system will be of longer relation. So if we developed in something bad practice and if we step out, so ultimately the loser will be like Pega systems. They'll be losing one client, right? So that is where one dedicated person from Pega systems team, he will be every time involved with this development or any other part of development. Okay, so city is like client here. After they getting Pega's license, so for TCS they might be giving development. Maybe for Cognizant they might be giving testing, and maybe for different projects. Every day there will be client meetings, right? Business analyst from so and so company, he will be like scheduling a meeting, and in all these high level meetings, one person from this Pega systems support person also will join. He will try to cross check whether everything is running in best practiced way or not. His duty is mainly to track everything running correct way or not. So for that, he cannot run behind every developer and check whether he followed best practice or not. He will just rely on that particular score. So if for any credit card application, if score is something like 90%, so he'll just drop an email to this delivery manager. And it is his responsibility to justify that. No doubt he'll check with his below manager, and ultimately it will be reaching to the developer like you. Again, it will be running behind you only. So what is the task given for you, and why did you create it here? Why did you not create in the above part, and why you could not reuse everything without any hesitation? You are supposed to redesign everything again. So that is the reason from day one itself, you should clearly understand following the best standards in development. If you are not following the best standards, maybe for the time period, it might not be noticeable, but down the line, because of this powerful algorithm, so you are supposed to redesign. So as of today, or as of now, we are understanding that maintaining framework application is almost mandatory. And then, so if we are having maybe multiple implementation applications, maintaining framework is almost mandatory. But Pega, this is like not, but Pega is recommending, but this is not actually mandatory. Having framework is strongly recommended by Pega. It's not mandatory. Why it is not mandatory? So maybe in Hyderabad, we are starting a new bank. And today we wanted to start only one credit card application. So only one application, even in this scenario. So do we require framework or not? Someone please tell me online. We wanted
No,
to start only one implementation. Do we require framework in this case? Yes or no?
No, no,
Required, right? Not required. Okay.
not required.
Yeah. So we are creating one credit card application, and I wanted to design first name, last name, and age, all the things. I'll create it here. Maybe down the line after 2 years, no doubt your business will increase, right? And you wanted to start something about like loan application. So if you are creating new implementation, and by that time, if we have something framework ready, it will be easy for us to build this second one, right? Yes or no? So meaning day one itself, you might be having one implementation or multiple. It is strongly recommended by Pega to maintain at least one framework. At least one framework. Okay. Without this framework also, you can survive, you can run the things, but it is not at all encouraged. Okay. And depending upon your project complexity, frameworks can be still more. Let me ask you one small thing. So I have one framework, and below credit card application, loans application, accounts application. Okay. So today I'm a developer here. My manager is asking me to include first name, last name, credit card type. So you quickly tell me first name where we will create. It must be in framework, correct? Tell me online people.
Framework.
yes,
You'll maintain in frame.
Framework.
What about last name?
framework,
Still.
Framework.
And what about this credit card type? In
implemented.
Dependent.
have to maintain in implementation. Okay. Next day, I'm like a developer here. I wanted to design first name, last name, something about like bank ID and loan amount. So now tell me first name for this, what you'll do?
Framework,
What do you mean by
Reuse.
framework? Is it
Get it
Reusing
from
something.
framework.
It is not creating. So first what you have to understand, maybe my requirement is to design screen number one to show first name, right? So before you creating anything here or here, first you have to cross check in framework whether those are already created or not. So here I'm like initial developer for this screen development I created, right? So can't you reuse those? Yes. So you should first cross check in framework whether this is already maintained or not. So in Pega, we have to cross check these as instances. You will not understand this word now itself, but just to make you understand little bit, let's make you understand what I'm saying is, so first name you have to cross check whether it is already available or not. If so, you can use it. This last name also you have to cross check in framework. You have to use it. And this bank ID, first you have to cross check, right? So if it is not available, where you will create this? Is it in framework or implementation?
Implementation.
Tell me, online people, is it in framework or implementation?
Implementation.
So what is this application related to accounts, right?
Framework.
It is not part of bank. So don't you expect anything like bank ID somewhere in this application? It must be, right? It can be useful. Okay, so this bank ID also looks reusable. I have to maintain it in framework. And what about this loan amount? This is specific for this application. No doubt create this in implementation. Got it right? Okay, fine. And consider the otherwise scenario. So this city project wanted to create only credit card. For today, they wanted to start only with credit card. So first name, last name may be like credit card type. So you people will say these two must be in framework. What do you mean by framework? So it is to be reused into multiple things, right? So I'm having something loans application. By that time, I'm not using first name and last name. Okay, so will this throw any error for us? So I created first name and last name. I used only into this application. So it has got two more implementations. Maybe if I did not use it there, still your compliance score will be reduced. Getting my point? Still your compliance score might be reduced. Saying like, so these are created but not reused in more than one thing. So better it must be used only at this point, right? That is where compliance score will be reduced. But you are supposed to provide one justification. Okay, you are supposed to provide one justification so that it will be still increased to 100%. So Pega will not understand everything automated, right? So I am creating it today. I might not use those into other applications today itself. I can use it tomorrow or day after tomorrow in coming projects. That is where it might be reducing the score, but still you can add some justification. Okay, fine. Now, our client wanted to step into different sector like insurance.
Sorry, Chandra, one doubt. So what will happen if at all by mistake I created in the implementation application and later I decided I did a mistake, I have to move it to the framework. So is it possible?
So it is no doubt possible. That is kind of like reusable work what you are doing. That is what I'm saying. So if
Okay,
I
it's kind of
first name, last name and credit card type here itself, your requirement is to design this screen. But what I'm saying is you have to design these two in framework, but by mistake. So day one, after you joining company, you might not understand your project structure. So you as a developer will be given access for only implementations. You will be logging in here. And there your manager is just asking you to design screen number one. And you don't know whether it is having framework or not. If so, how many frameworks also you don't know. Just for the sake of requirement completion, you created everything here. No doubt you'll get the output. Maybe whenever there is like code review happening, it might not be on the same day. It might be after 2 weeks or whatever. Whenever code review is happening, their manager will identify that score is somewhere reduced to 99% because of so and so person's name. So your name, it will be clearly mentioned here. So we call this as operator ID. I'll talk about that. So and so person's name will be there and saying like one reason also. If this is a valid reason, they will provide justification for that. And maybe if this is not looking valid, no doubt your manager will talk to you and he'll ask you to redesign. You may have to remove these two things from here and you may have to create somewhere at the top. Still you'll get the same. Now got it right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So now your client, suppose SBI is our client. So for SBI, there is one framework with the three applications: accounts application, credit card application, loans application. All the reusable things between these three I created in framework. Now SBI wanted to step into insurance sector also. So they wanted to create a new application for property insurance. So try to understand this carefully. And something about like medical insurance and something about like vehicle insurance. Okay. So three new implementations is what we are creating, right? Now, these three are also part of this organization. So I'll connect it to this framework. Okay. And when you are developing these three, suppose if I ask you where you'll create this bank ID, what did you say? It is in framework only, correct? Tell me online people. Yes, right?
Yes.
So if I'm supposed to design credit card amount, you'll create directly here. And if you are supposed to design something about loan amount, you'll create it here. And if you have to design something about like bank name, which is used in more than one implementation, you'll maintain it here. Okay. And if it is about like CIBIL score, okay. So for account creation, they'll ask for CIBIL score. For credit card, they'll ask for CIBIL score. For loan, they'll ask for CIBIL score. You are maintaining CIBIL related details also here. And no doubt first name, last name part. Now I'm supposed to develop this one. Okay. And my requirement is to show first name. Can I use this first name from there to here? Yes or no? Yes, right? Tell me online.
Yes.
Yes. And if my requirement is to include last name, still you can use it. Now my requirement is to create policy ID. I have to create. Where you'll create? Is it implementation or framework?
Implementation.
I wanted to create something like policy ID. Just quickly tell me, is it into implementation or framework?
Implementation.
Implementation.
No,
Will,
it should be framework. We can use it in other implementation
correct.
application.
Will you not have policy ID for medical insurance? Obviously, yes. Will you not have policy ID for vehicle insurance? Yes. This policy ID is supposed to be maintained in this framework. So if it is maintained in this framework, it can be equally used in these three applications also, correct? Is it really required? Is
No.
it really required? No, right? Whatever the banking things you created in framework, so will those be any chance used in these three? No, right? So what are we understanding? So we are having total 6 implementations, but all these 6 are not of one sector. Meaning reusable things between these three will be different. Reusable things between these three will be different. If that is the scenario, maintaining one single framework is like hectic for us. It is very difficult to manage in future. So that is where our business analyst will say to create 2 frameworks. So maybe one as banking framework, maybe one as insurance framework. Here I can have accounts application, maybe credit card application, something like loan application. And here medical insurance, something like property insurance, and maybe something as vehicle insurance. Now I'm a developer here. So if I'm supposed to create policy ID, no doubt I can create it here so that in future it can be reused in property insurance or medical insurance. And if you are a developer here, if you are supposed to create something like bank ID, where you'll create here itself, right? So that it will be used in these 3 applications. Now, again, the problem is, if you as a developer wanted to create first name, okay, you are developing this accounts application, wanted to create first name. Tell me where you'll maintain. Where you'll maintain
Framework.
framework. What framework? Banking framework, correct?
But it should be in insurance as well. Like
If you are maintaining this in banking framework, okay, no doubt your requirement for that day will be completed. So maybe next day, if you or some other developer wanted to design this, happily they can use it. And if I'm a developer here, I wanted to design first name. Can I use this one into this one? No, right? No. Again, I have to create first name property, right? Again, I have to create last name property, right? So when you are developing this, there might be 100 such things reusable. You might be maintaining it here, but not even a single thing will be used out of these 3, correct, right? Meaning somewhere again, reusability is missing out. Somewhere again, I cannot reuse this. So that is the reason what you have to do is you have to create one more framework, something with the name main FW. Okay, and it might be having something banking framework, something like insurance framework. And here I can have one implementation, maybe second one, maybe third one. Here something like medical insurance, maybe property insurance, something like vehicle insurance. So now whatever your requirement might be, according to that, you can reuse. So I'm a developer here. If I wanted to create first name, tell me where I have to create?
In the main.
Main.
Framework.
So can't this be used in this corner? Yes, right? Obviously, yes.
Yes.
Now I wanted to create policy ID. Where I have to create? Policy ID I wanted to maintain.
Insurance framework.
It must be an insurance framework. Must be insurance framework. Okay. Now, this structure is like created and we are continuing. After 2 years, our management, what they're thinking is, let's not have vehicle insurance as one single application, maintain it as two. Suppose if you wanted to get an insurance for your car, what you'll do? You'll go to some insurance company or store, whatever it is, and there one representative will be using this application. So this application today we are using it for two-wheeler insurance, maybe four-wheeler insurance, maybe heavy vehicle. But management is saying like, don't maintain one single application, make it as two. So what we'll do for this is, we as a developer, first will create a separate application for two-wheeler, a separate application for four-wheeler. Makes sense, right? Four-wheeler. And I'm a developer here. I wanted to create policy ID. Where I have to create? Tell me. In insurance framework. Am I correct? Tell me, online people.
Yes.
Here I have to just show policy ID. Where I have to create? No doubt in insurance framework. Okay. And I wanted to create something about like engine number, something about like tire size, something about like vehicle number. Where I have to create these three? Tell me.
Insurance framework.
Insurance framework. Sure.
Yeah.
Where I have to create these three, something about like engine number or vehicle number or chassis number.
Implementation layer.
Is particular about like a vehicle. Am I correct? So
Yes.
will that be used in property insurance? No. Will that be used in medical insurance? No. So this is to be used here. So I can create in this implementation alone. Okay. So next day, if I'm supposed to design this, so will there not be engine number applicable here? Chassis number or tire size, all these things will be applicable here also, right? So somewhere again rework is happening. So how to overcome this? So you may
But
have
this
to
four,
create it in framework. So if it is to be used in more than one implementation, no doubt it must be maintained in framework. If you are maintaining it here, so what is the necessity of using in these two things? Not required. So what we'll do is, we have to create one more framework with the name vehicle insurance, within which two-wheeler and four-wheeler might be its sub implementations. Understood, every one of you? So this yellow color highlighted part might be frameworks in our organization. Rest everything might be implementations, right? Okay. So likewise, based on your structure, based on your complication, so your organization structure will be like having more than one framework, no? Okay, so this is what. Now, after we understanding this, in interviews, as I told you, straight away they'll ask you to draw and show your current organization structure. So if you're drawing this, okay, if this is your existing one, maybe if you're drawing this, they might ask you to explain this credit card application. What is this all credit card application all about? So what you have done, okay, and what rules of Pega you worked on. So this is what they'll ask you. And in that process, you might explain saying like, this credit card application is about registering a new customer as well as giving service to the existing customer. This is what you might say. Now, interviewer might stop you. How are you registering for the new customer? So you can explain saying like, we initially check for the eligibility to check for their PAN card number. No doubt any bank, if they wanted to issue credit card, there will be something called CIBIL score. Some eligibility factor must be there, right? So here in India, we are searching with something called PAN card number. If I click on search, I'll get his CIBIL score, maybe 600 or 700, whatever it is. So this CIBIL score from where we'll get? Is it from our own organization? No. So there will be something called RBI. Okay. So which is like bank for all the banks in India. So SBI for RBI, whatever. So here from SBI, if I'm searching for any PAN card number, it is to hit the third party application and getting some response, right? So this application is integrated with third party application. Why this is not mentioned in your structure? That is what they're asking. So if anyone is asking you to draw this organization structure, don't just limit yourself in drawing till here. You are supposed to include that every application, if it is connected with third party, those are also to be mentioned. So there they'll ask you, how are you connecting to this? Is it like you sending a request and they're sending back a response? Or is it like you running one SQL query to hit their database directly? Okay, so how are you integrating? In this process, did you write any customized SQL queries? So if required, did you connect with more than one table joining? How did you generate such combined SQL query in Pega? Or how did you implement with REST or so? So how did you handle that exceptions? Consider after I sending a request, they could not send back me some response. Their server might be down, right? So in that scenario, how did you handle as a Pega developer here? So how did you include such simulations in Pega? How did you include simulations via data page? So from one single question, so all your next questions will be framed. So if I'm your interviewer, I'll just ask you to draw this. From here, every next question will be framed out. So we will not ask you anything in some sequential way. So however you answer, the next question will be framed out. That is where from day one itself, you are supposed to answer everything most confidently. If you don't know anything about any small topic, it's good that you should not raise it in the interview panel. So if you raise something about like REST as a technical word, they'll ask you, next question will be on top of it, right? So we'll guide you what to answer, what not to answer slowly. But now, if anyone is asking about organization structure, you should include the external applications. Sometimes there will be external databases also. So consider this as our RB application. So from this application, there will be a request sent. This RBI, they will try to process our request and they'll check with their database and then they're sending back response, right? So this is one way. Other way is this RBI will give us direct permission to hit their database. So foundation servers is what we call. What foundation server you are using? Is it about external database integration? Is it about like external application? Is it about like your internal database? So everything to be clearly mentioned. This as a whole constitute organization structure. And this part, whatever you are seeing, this we call it as application structure. Getting my point? You should know difference between these two. So this is our application structure where how many frameworks you are having and each framework, how many implementations it is having, and is this frameworks what you created or is this framework what you purchased from Pega? We call it as OOTB framework. That. So are you using OOTB frameworks or are you customizing your own frameworks? So if you are creating your own framework, is it used only in your organization or is it like sold to any other organization? This is also you have to understand. What do you mean by this statement? So consider, as I told yesterday, Pega is having a product or a tool. So this client should purchase that tool and design everything. And additionally, I told you, this Pega as a company designed some frameworks also. There will be banking frameworks ready. There will be something like insurance frameworks ready. So I can able to directly purchase this framework separately and use it here, right? I need not again develop all these things from beginning. So frameworks are also ready made. I can purchase it. It will be something more costlier. Okay. So if our client can afford this cost, then he'll purchase it immediately so that he'll save a lot of time. Maybe if our client could not purchase this framework, then he will be designing everything from his manual way, which is not encouraging Pega today. Pega is not encouraging to create your own frameworks. Don't create. So we are having frameworks ready. So straight away plug in those in your organization structure. This is what it is recommending. But depending upon the budget issues, so client may design on their. Consider SBI is our client, and our client is having enough manpower, and we are having enough time so that we can design the same framework. Whatever the framework which is ready made, we can design it on our own, right? And this is something banking framework what Pega is like similarly created. Now this framework is sold to different clients, right? SBI, they'll try to purchase this. Maybe Axis Bank, they'll try to purchase. Bank of America, they'll try to purchase. Similarly, whatever the framework I am creating on my own, still I can sell this for different companies also. Getting my point? So we as an organization creating one framework, no doubt it is reusable for any banking application below. It need not be in our organization itself. I can sell this for different company also. So that is where everything in interviews they might ask. So unfortunately, if you are joining in any Pega project which is running in Scratch, so there will be multiple Pega projects, right? Which is an enhancement project or optimization project or migration project or prod support project or Scratch project. So if your project is starting to be something like Scratch, and if you are like in joining there, so they might ask you everything related to this. And if this structure is well established, and if you are joining to develop this application, you might not get questions on all these things at all, depending upon to what project or to what interview it is about. So make sense, everyone? Online people, so far everyone clear, right?
Yes.
Chandra, are we
Yes.
telling like for license, Pega license, we have to pay separately, and for the getting this framework also, the organization have to
It's
pay.
not about license, it is about like there will not be license related, it's like one-time payment only. Okay, but
Okay.
for the main
Same.
product, yeah, but for the main product PRPC, it will be licensed and it should be renewal. So, Pega, I don't want to use PRPC today itself. Okay, so this is like renewal. And just for the sake of encouraging smaller clients, as I told you, Pega license will be very costly. So not every company or every client recording this today. So just for that sake, Pega is giving like monthly licenses also. Monthly license. So that one client maybe like ABC as your bank wanted to use Pega, we can try for 1 month. Okay, and we can able to renew. So once this is like renewed every month, they'll try to get this license converted to yearly basis or something about like number of users basis or number of work object basis, as I told you. So this is something to be renewed and something about like frameworks, which is one time. Got it right?
Yep.
Okay. So finally, we're understanding importance of framework application. Importance of framework application. Fine. And so consider today is our day one in our project. Consider I am the client. We are all city clients. And we wanted to design some credit card application. For that, we already took Pega license. Consider. After we have taken this Pega license, we are supposed to install in our network. And after installing it, you'll be getting this kind of blue color login. You can see this, right? So this is completely running on web-based. Okay, so this will be launched in one browser. And from there, you can log in and it will take you to development studio. If you're a developer, it will take you development studio. From there, you can drag and drop, design everything. And from there, so users, meaning the real testers will log in and they'll test it. And the real users, likewise, it will be continued. Now, question is, how are we getting this login page? So if I just copy this URL and send it to in WhatsApp, in your laptop, if you hit it, do you expect this blue color login page? Tell me, online people. If I simply send you this URL, maybe in your laptop, if you start hitting, will you expect this page? No. No. So there will be something kind of installation process to be done. So this installation process will be different from our personal edition, and it will be different in our enterprise edition. What do you mean by personal? What do you mean by enterprise? So Pega is releasing two level of editions. So I'll talk about Pega versions also that I cannot explain today itself. So there will be two types of editions. One is called personal edition and the other one is called enterprise edition. So in real-time projects, this will be used. And today, just for our sake of learning, we are using this one. So installation process will be different here and here. So here for installation, no doubt you must require a Windows laptop. So if you are having something different operating system, maybe Mac or whatever. So on that, again, you have to get this Windows installed. Okay. So whatever the personal edition we have today, this is supported only for Windows. And that too, it is encouraged if you have it like Windows 10 or 11. Even other version also works out, but this is like strongly encouraged so that every part of database also works perfectly. And it is required to have 64-bit operating system, which will be by default mostly. And we require minimum of 8 GB RAM. Minimum of 8 GB RAM. If you are in a thought of purchasing a new laptop, better you take 16 GB. It might be hardly 2 to 3,000 extra, but better if you take 16 GB, but 8 GB also works out. And if you're having something like 4 GB RAM, you may have to upgrade it. But if your hard disk type is something like SSD, there will be two types of hard disk, right? HDD and SSD. Maybe if your laptop is like having like SSD, then 4 GB also okay. But every time this is better combination. 8 GB RAM plus SSD is a good combination. So that's it about like your laptop specifications. After you have this laptop setup ready, so you will be given with one link. Okay, I'll share you one link. And if you click on that, you are supposed to download the actual Pega software, which will be almost like 4 GB size. And yesterday, most of you got it and most of you have downloaded it also. And for others, so if you have not received any link, okay, please message us. So it should be downloadable, and we'll be even sharing you video how to download this and how to do these things step by step procedurally. Complete video will be there. You can just follow that video. You can just do it on your own. Still, if you have any doubt, you can reach us. Our person will connect with your laptop. It will take 1 hour and we'll completely make this installed. Okay, fine. So this installation process is like little prerequisite what we have to do. After this installation is done, so background, there will be a server running out like this. You can see one black command window running out, right? In the same video, whatever I'll share. So how you'll get this black window, everything will be there. So this black window running ante, it's kind of server is running up. If server is running, this URL will be active. This URL will be active and I can get this Pega login page. Maybe if I close this server, maybe if I'm trying to use the same URL, I'll not get it. So finally, Pega is purely server executional based, and this will generate one URL. Now I'll ask you a question. If I send this URL in WhatsApp, and if you are hitting it directly without you doing this installation process, do you expect this blue color page? No, right? Tell me online people. No, no. Maybe if I
No.
copy this link and paste it in my different browser. Consider I'm using Google Chrome. So I can open something like Opera browser or Safari browser. If I search, if I hit this URL there, will I get login page? Yes or no? What do you expect? So whatever the URL I'm seeing in
No,
browser
actually.
number 1, can I expect it in my browser too, in my same laptop, in different browser? Will this not work out? It should work, right? It should work. So why? Because this server is running in my laptop. So this URL should work everywhere in my laptop range, right? So exactly in the real time it happens. So in the real time, after you clearing your interview, day one, your manager will give you a laptop, right? You are supposed to connect it to the client network using VPN or client ID or ping ID, whatever it is. After you connect into the client network, don't ask your manager about like Pega installation. So today you are asking me how to download it. Today you'll ask me what is the software or what is the version number. Today you'll ask me whether it is like Windows 10 or 11, whatever. So this is purely related to our internal discussion only. So I'm just showing you some work around to practice this. But in the real time, you should not utter a single word about like Pega installation. If you talk to your manager saying like what Pega version I have to download, or I'm having like Mac laptop, whatever the Mac laptop, so how to install this, so how to upgrade it to 16 GB RAM. If you talk anything about this, straight away they'll ask you, are you really experienced or? Straight away they'll ask you, are you really experienced or? So meaning installation related discussion should never be there in the enterprise edition. So then what is happening? What is happening? In our personal laptop, we're trying to install, and there is something like command window running and one URL is generated, and this URL works everywhere in my laptop range, in my server range, exactly in the real time. Maybe city is your client where its location might be in USA, and there will be a network team, right? So this network team, they will do everything what we are doing it manually. So here, every one of us should do it manually, right, separately. But here, a client person from network team, they'll try to install in their laptop. One URL will be generated, same process. And this URL will be shared with every one of us who are connected to the client network. Consider I'm a part of TCS from Hyderabad. You are part of Cognizant from Australia, right? And maybe something like HCL, maybe from Japan. So we all are working for the same client. We might be from different companies, different locations. Every one of us connected to this client network using VPN or client IDs, right? So once we step into this client server range, no doubt the URL generated, it will be equally shared with every one of us. And in your laptop, it might be Windows laptop or whatever it is, you open any browser, if you just hit that URL, no doubt you'll get this page. No doubt you'll get this page. And this page need not be in the same way. It will be customized depending upon the client. So if city is our client, so this will be showing out in white and red color. Generally, their theme is about white and red. So you'll see username and password, something background color changed to white and red. Instead of this Pega logo, they'll put it like Citibank logo. So they can customize it. It's not a big deal. So finally, what I mean to say is after you join your company, so the very first thing what you have to ask your manager is, please share development URL. You have to ask for this URL. You should not talk anything about laptop or installation process. So they'll share you this URL. And this URL, you will not see it as local host there. So there you might see something as city dev. There you might see something as city dev. And maybe if you are like in Pega tester joining in some company, instead of city dev, you might be seeing it as city QA, meaning there are like different URLs, right? So as I already told you, so there will be development phase, testing phase, UAT phase, maybe like production phase, different phases. So I'm a developer here. You might be a tester here, and the real users might be there, real production. So real production people might be here. So there are like different environments, meaning there are different servers, there are different URLs. So your manager will share you this URL only. Okay, and within this URL, you are supposed to log in. It will take to development studio. And further, you should see drag and dropping options and other stuff. Okay, and next important thing they might ask in interview is, so what is like authentication type you are having? So the URL, whatever you are seeing, everything will be same, more or less. In this place of PR servlet, sometimes you'll see something called PR auth. Very important. So in the URL, whatever you are getting, so in some project, you'll see it as PR servlet. In some project, you'll see it as PR auth. Today, I might be working for an city client. There I can see PR servlet. Next day, I can work for HSBC Bank. There, everything will be same. But here you'll see something else. What is that? PR auth. PR auth. Okay. So as of now, I'm seeing it as PR servlet. What I'll do is I'm trying to change this to PR something auth. I'm trying to hit this. Are you getting any error? No, right? You can see same login page. So if it is like PR servlet or PR auth, whatever looks the same for us, but background authentication type is changed. What do you mean by authentication? Okay, I'll take 2 more minutes. I wanted to explain this statement today itself. And later we'll try to understand in detail about like authentications. So consider a small example. Consider a small example. If you are working in some company like CTS or TCS, whatever, you will be given with some mailbox, right? Okay, so you'll search with maybe webmail.tcs.com. This is what the URL you'll search, and it will ask you for username and password. And if I enter my employee ID and my password, if I click on login, what should happen? I'll expect something like inbox, right? Showing all my emails, correct enough? So on click on of this, it is trying to check in our database whether this ID and password is correct or not. Makes sense, right? Okay. So logging in into any application and hitting their database, we call this as internal authentication. Getting my point? We call this as internal authentication. This is completely outdated today. This is completely outdated. Nowadays, what are you seeing is after you trying to log in any application, it is not directly taking you to inbox. It is asking you to enter some OTP, correct? Or it is asking you to enter some auth code. Or maybe for your mobile phone, so there will be something like code generated. You may have to click on approve or deny. Am I correct? So if you click on approve, then it is happily taking you to inbox. If you click on deny, even though after entering valid ID and password, you could not able to proceed further, right? Okay. And this particular in mobile, you are installing an application, mobile app. And mostly this will be of Microsoft based. Mostly it will be of Microsoft based. So I'm trying to log in into something like TCS application. I'm a TCS employee. I'm logging into TCS application. But for this mobile phone, it is a code generated, which is about like Microsoft. Now, how Microsoft is coming into picture? Meaning the entered username and password, if it is wrong, will I get this OTP generated or auth code generated? No, right? If I enter this ID and password, then only I'll get this ID generated, right? Meaning this username and password, so-called this data is available at Microsoft level. Am I correct? So after I entering username and password, it is hitting to Microsoft database, and then it is considering this as a valid request. For my mobile phone, it is generating one auth code. If I click on approve, then the remaining things of my same organization, I'm accessing it. So here TCS is doing some authentication based on this external database entity. We call this as external authentication. We call this as external authentication. Same way, coming to our Pega correlation. So if this is one Pega application, and if I'm a real bank employee, so working in Citibank, if I'm trying to log in with username and password, it is not hitting its own database. For some external security, they are trying to maintain their data in the third party application or third party, and they are trying to generate something called multi-factor authentication, and from there it is proceeding. So this is called external. So in interviews straight away they might ask you, so your organization, is it still using internal authentication based or external authentication based? So that you can clearly understand by looking at their configuration files. If it is PR auth, is it internal or external? If it is
External.
PR, it must be external. So if it is internal, what will be the servlet name you see? PR servlet,
Servlet.
which is purely outdated, So I'll talk about this in detail in all the coming sessions. Okay. So that's it for today. So sorry, we took some extra time. So So I request every one of you to get this Pega installed today itself. Okay. If it is not today, at least by Monday session. Today is Thursday, right? So at least by Monday. Okay. Why? Because few people might not be having laptop related ready. So you people should run behind something upgradation or something purchasing new laptop, whatever it is. Just to take decision as soon as possible and try to get it installed today. And mostly you might not install this on your own. Okay, you can try. You can watch the video. It will be crystal clear. You can just try it on your own. And if you are having any small issue or if you could not able to do it on your own, just check with our person on the same WhatsApp number. Our person will download everything and he'll take care and try to get it mostly today itself. So tomorrow I'll show you how to log in and how to go for next internal things. Okay, how to create applications and how to start your second application. As I told you, one application is what will take care, right? So second and third application, you have to do it parallelly. So how to start or when to start this second application or third project or fourth. So everything will be going on in systematic way. So never miss a single point. Never miss a single session. Okay. Everything is like interlinked. Don't think like something demos are something like not useful for you. Every point is highly useful. So maybe if you did not attend today's session, if you're attending tomorrow, so there might not be that effective. Okay, it might not be that effective. So requesting everyone to follow everything our guidelines strictly. And if I ask you to download this, you have to do it on the same day. If I ask you to call for a mock interview, you have to do it. So that is what you have to strictly follow. And mark my words, down the line, next in 4 to 5 months, after you following all my instructions, no doubt you'll stand how you wanted. If you wanted to look yourself as a beginner, no doubt you can happily stand. If you wanted to look yourself as like in 3 years or 4 years, or if you wanted to start your career as a Pega LSA, no doubt you can stand it. For that, once in 2 weeks, where we're taking like personal mock interviews. So we'll check for your expectation. Your expectation is about going like 4 years. So we'll be testing it in the same way. Okay, so whether your expectations versus reality matching or not is like everything running in the same bridge or not. So that is where we'll make you to stand on. So please follow everything strictly. Okay, any questions or any doubts, anyone? So today's session, everyone clear, right? Yes, right? Okay, sure. Thank you, everyone.